So before we get into the beginning of the Easter story, the crucifixion, let's step back for a second and just look more at why was Jesus going through all these struggles in the first place? I mean, why wouldn't he just come down and map things out so that he would have as good a time as possible? That's what we're trying to do, isn't it? Right? We're trying to make it so we live where we want to live and life goes like we want to have it go. Wouldn't he have the cash to do that? But there's a good reason why he took this road, and we're going to let Jonathan Rose explain more.
And there's finally a passage in Hebrews 12 that sort of explains what's going on here. This is about the removal of those things that are being shaken as of things that are made, that the things which cannot be shaken may remain. I like that image, that what this testing is, what it does is it attacks us and tests us because there's some stuff in us that's weak and flawed, and they can pick that off. You know, it's a lot like the Amalekites when the children of Israel were wandering in the wilderness. They had Amalekites who would attack them, and they couldn't get rid of the whole children of Israel, but they'd attack the weak or the straggling, the sick, and so on. It's a terrible image, but when it's talking about stuff that's within our consciousness, it's talking about getting rid of that part of us that's the weakest or the sick, stuff we don't need. It's the part that can be shaken, which only has the opposite effect of what hell intends, which is that it strengthens the part in us that cannot be shaken. How did Jesus get to be Jesus? When you see him at birth, he's just this little child. He's not speaking. He's not doing miracles. When you see him when he's 12 years old, he has this great wisdom that he didn't have when he was a little child. And you see him interacting with the teachers, but he's not doing miracles, and he's not preaching and teaching yet. And what happened between the time when he was 12 and when he was 30 that made him so powerful? His secret weapon was that he was tested. He went through this torment from hell that made him stronger and stronger. You see that little window of it in Matthew chapter 4 when he's interacting with that evil spirit. But he was tested and strengthened by that challenge from hell, that he just only got stronger and clearer. Psalm 23 says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." Why do you want to dine in the presence of your enemies? Well, there's a strengthening that goes on. The Lord was actually being fed by that presence and getting clearer and stronger and more able to deal with hell as he went along. So he was going through this process. So because he was going through much more vicious temptations than we ever go through, he was much stronger. He came out because he had that divine love carrying him on in a way that the rest of us we'd cave, We'd give up, we'd collapse. But he was able to take it because he was driven by that divine love, that desire to save the whole human race. And so he got really strong. His heart got so strong in what he was doing. So these spiritual struggles are something that we don't see much of, we don't know much about, but it strengthens us.